all the media people walk in, and the lineup is posted right when you walk in, and there
it is.
There's Ivan Herrera in left field
with Burleson at DH, right? So you go,
yeah.
well, maybe a typo, maybe nope, that's what they wanted to do. And I don't know if there's a better sign. Like you said, initially it was off season. We'll visit that possibility, which makes sense. But with the way the Cardinals' July has gone, they're not necessarily in the race in the same way that you had hoped. We could be witnessing a sell-off in the coming days, and they're trying some stuff. They're maybe getting a jump on what that would look like in the offseason.
And I like his athleticism. The reason that I asked the question is because he can run a little bit. He obviously has the ability to catch the ball. He moves around. He was able to go get that ball last night. When you look at some of the left fielders that have won World Series, there's no reason to believe that Ivan Herrera couldn't ascend to that level athletically of being a competent enough left fielder to win with.
I'm just thinking about the 2011 team. I mean, Matt Holliday was your guy, and then Alan Craig was in there for the final out. So that'll play if you're producing at the plate. That's kind of what that position can be about. Certainly, when you have Victor Scott as well roaming center field most of the time, he has that great range that can help fit some guys in the corners. That as long as they're producing at the plate, you can get away with that.
And it's interesting and to me ironic that we could get, and I'm not positive about this. I don't think the Cardinals. I know the Cardinals don't know this yet because there's a long way to go. There's still a couple of months in this season and then spring training next year and an entire offseason. But it's not out of the realm of possibility with this incredibly left-handed heavy lineup that the Cardinals have had in 2025 that they would start 26 with a right-handed hitter in left and a right-handed hitter in Jordan Walker in right.
Yeah, that seems like a possibility, and you got to figure out a way to sort through the lefties and what you do with them. If it's Newpar, if it's Gorman, Donovan, you know that Scott should probably be in center field as a lefty. Yeah. But yeah, I think that could end up balancing out a little bit next year if they so choose, right? Burleson's another example of a lefty. That, again, you've got 10, 11 guys that you're going to have to decide which 9 are you going to roll with for the most part. And for that extra guy, can there be a trade that maybe nets you a pitcher? Certainly that's got to be a topic of conversation after the Tekoa Roby news. And so you're trying to sort your way through what that looks like, kind of peeking ahead to February of 26.
We're getting ahead of things here. And I want to get your opinion on this. Do you think that Wilson Contreras would hold enough value, and Wilson is going to be 34 next May and probably wants to win again, and the Cardinals probably would like to have a younger team that grows together. Do you think that he holds enough value that another team would take on his contract as a first baseman /DH?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's one of the best hitters on the Cardinals this year.
Yep.
You know, and that would be a reason I would hesitate to move him. Looking at the qualified players right now, I believe it's just Burleson that's ahead of him. Ivan Herrera would be ahead in OPS as well, but has not qualified for plate appearances. I see the question. I just wonder if, like, I think Wilson A wants to stay. Like, I know he wants to win, but he's also taken a lot of pride in, like, being a guy that is at the center of whatever the Cardinals are going to be doing. And so I wouldn't be necessarily trying to kick him out the door, but
I'm not either.
Sure.
By the way.
But I do think that, like, if you decided, hey, and he decided, hey, I'm willing to explore that. Yeah, I don't think you have any problem getting rid of his money. Do you get a lot back for him in conjunction with the money? I don't really know the answer to that. To me, though, he's still going to hold more value to this team than he would on the trade block, because I'm not necessarily trying to save money for ownership where I'm not sure they're going to do a lot of spending anyway this winter.
And he's really good off the field as well. I'm just wondering if this team, and this has nothing to do with money, it has to do with growth, a team growing together. But Mark Feinstein reporting that the teams that don't get a Eugenio Suarez will apparently there will be some that have shown interest in pivoting to Arenado. So if you could do that, and hey, this is a big if, a lot of ifs here, but you've got Sajacy, you've got Weatherholt on the way, you've got Wynn, you've got Donovan, you've got Burleson to play first or Walker to play first, and then all of a sudden you're looking at Herrera, you're looking at Scott, Walker, or Burleson and right. Very youthful lineup. Granted, you lose a lot of pop, your best pop if you get rid of Wilson Contreras, but a young team with an opportunity to grow. And the big thing I'm looking at, nobody can wait for Weatherholt to get here. You got to open up a spot.
You do
for Weatherholt, and I would guess that the Cardinals will do everything they can to open up third base for him.
Yeah, and that's where I would say I'm on board. Like, if Arenado's still a Cardinal throughout the rest of the week, okay, I still think they try again in November because it just feels as though they're not matching up on exactly the timelines of where his career is headed, where the Cardinals as an organization are, and where they're headed the next couple of years. I think originally when he was traded to the Cardinals, right, they tacked on that extra year for 2027 at $15 million. And that was probably designed as more of a placeholder.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if he ever thought he'd be playing on that salary for 2027, but now that he's kind of struggling offensively and the market for trades wasn't maybe what he had hoped it would have been this past winter, I kind of, it just puts you in a really interesting spot where if you're the Cardinals, moving on from him just to open up a spot, I think is the point that they're at. I really appreciate Arenado, and he's a Hall of Fame player in my opinion. But with where everything is right now, if you can get out from some of the money, it doesn't really matter what you're getting back for him. I think that's a reasonable avenue to explore as long as he's okay with the landing spot and everybody can agree this time. I think you do that. And if you do it this week, which, I mean, there have been some rumblings that that's a possibility, as you mentioned, from Feinsand, I actually think that's to the benefit of the organization because it gives you one extra spot to figure out Gorman before 2026, because that's where you do need to have that spot available for Weatherholt. And and he's not healthy now, but he's at Springfield. If Gorman can get a month and a half to the end of the season where we say, hey, look, the plate appearances get up to 400, 450, we've got a sample size, decide future Cardinal or past Cardinal, and figure that out. If it's hey, Gorman's he slugged 30 homers this year, well, maybe you keep him and move somebody else. But you're right, they do have to get that figured out. Arenado to me is the first step, and then you kind of proceed from there.
Jen's on the chat. Could they package Helsley with Nato to a contender to entice Nato to waive his no trade? Probably not. But the one thing that you could do, and this is outside the box thinking, it's kind of, and I think Matthew and I talked about this last week, it's kind of more NBA, NFL, NHL thinking. Not necessarily I don't know if the Cardinals have this creativity gene right now, but to me, an interesting thought would be to go to the Dodgers, and you would have had to lay the groundwork for this last week or the week before. But you go to the Dodgers and you say, okay, Helsley, Maton, and Matz, they're all yours in exchange for one of your young pitchers, whoever it might be. And they say, okay, well, what's the catch? And the catch is, you have to take Arenado in his contract. The value that you're getting back from that trade is that you're getting out from under Nolan Arenado. And the Dodgers don't care about money anyway. So what you're doing is trading those three pitchers to get out from under the contract, not to get assets back from LA.
Yeah, I think that's hard to do if you're giving them all of the bullpen, because there could be some value extracted from that.
It could be.
But, I mean, what's your impetus? What is your main goal with this deadline? I think the Arenado thing is increasingly something that they would love to be able to get done. And I bet, what was the list? 5 teams, and you crossed off Houston because he said no thanks. So 4 teams. I bet if there was something that came together that was a team that wasn't on that list, I don't know. I feel like he might have more of a willingness, as long as it's like a legit contender, a chance to win. I think there's been enough frustration with, not saying his frustration with the Cardinals, but general frustration with his season, the direction of the way things are going. I wouldn't be surprised if he would kind of YOLO and say, all right, let's go try to win a ring right now. I'm mired in this season. Maybe a change of scenery gets my production up for wherever I go. It might not take being a team on that previous list to get it done this week.